All right, here we are, December the 8th, just a couple of days after I entered this new decade of life, in this incarnation, entered that 60th year. And I'm telling you, something has just activated even more powerfully in me, this determination to live my next, I don't know, 4 or 5 decades that I have remaining in this incarnation, to live them so completely in alignment with truth, committed to that warrior spirit, committed to that patriotism, and it's not patriotism just to the US, but it's patriotism to the planet, to do everything within my power to ensure that I make available the truth that has set me free. So it is absolutely just incredibly exciting to feel this energy, that this portal that we have all entered. And one of the most beautiful things about waking up and connecting with Source is that there is no doubt that we are part of something so much grander. So the being caught up with the minutia of human life is almost, it's almost like a joke, and not in that there is a diminishing what this is all about, but there is a clear understanding.
Guys have called them the Leviathan. It is an army of malevolent races.
All right, there we go. Let me just turn down the malevolent races. But anyways, it is absolutely important that we gain a little bit of humor, and it's even better when you have a lot more humor. This is truly as Dante's Divine Comedy. It really is a comedy. I think it was Plato that wrote that. We've got to get clear that we are powerful beings, powerful divine beings from outside of this incarnation. We chose to incarnate. We chose to have a physical experience of separation for one reason and one reason only: to experience what it's like to get to know yourself from different perspectives, so that you can be the father, so that you can be the mother, the daughter, the son, the cook, the candlestick maker. You can be the president, you can be the pauper. Why? Because they are all equally as valuable of an experience as it is to be the one that created all of that. So when you come to know that as the creative source of infinite potentials, we choose to have a limited experience of all of that potential. Because if you think about it, if you believed yourself to be all of it, if you were the doctor and the patients and the nurse and the chemist, and you were also the university that taught how to be a doctor, how to be a nurse, how to be a chemist, if you were all of that, if your mind held that all of that was who you were in this incarnation, your mind would explode. You couldn't know yourself as all of those aspects. So we individuate into one aspect. That's why we are a hologram of a hologram of a hologram. Just as our body is filled with different organs, and all those organs are each filled with different cells that have specific jobs to do to make the entire system of all of our organs function properly, so our body functions properly. Each of us is one of those cells inside of the organ of the United States, or the organ of women, or the organ that plays the role of doctor, or the role of nurse. But we're all part of the same body, physical body and human body. And our human body is part of the galactic body. And our galactic body is part of a universe of universes. There is no end to what we belong to just as there is no end to the ways that we are going to incarnate in the future, as there was no limit to what we chose to incarnate in the past. Now, the Course is really clear. There is no such thing as incarnation, as there is no such thing as a body being real. But while we are experiencing ourselves thinking we have a body, we use incarnation as the story that we tell ourselves to make sense of the insanity that we have manifested for ourselves. It requires an incredible amount of, I'm going to say, spiritual maturity. I don't know what else to call it. And that maturity comes the more we get clear about what God is, our relationship to source, whatever you want to call it, Father, Mother, Spirit, Source, Creator, Bambi, Buddha, Allah. It doesn't matter what we call it. It is the energy of life itself, eternal life, that is, not physical life. It is the energy that, if you really wanted to call it an appropriate word, it's like the designer. It keeps designing more and more. There's no limit to what it can design. And in a perfect design, filled with intelligence, filled with the potential for joy, there is also in that free will to choose any possibility, any potential. We can experience it. To experience one potential of the infinite potentials, we must choose to forget all the other possibilities. So let's just use numbers, which is to limit things. So let's all be clear that I'm in the midst of limiting the infinite potentials of what is possible. So let's just pretend here, I'm going to draw all the possibilities that are available to us. So if in this incarnation, in any incarnation, there are a million possibilities. You can be male, female, tall, dark, short, handsome, dog, cat, star, moon, whatever. If think of all those possibilities. We are given free will to experience any one of those. If we choose to come in as that one, that's the one that we are going to have as the experience, the identity that we have as who we are. If you believe that that's all that you are, well, you create a lot of suffering for yourself when you bump up against the other aspects of source, of the designer, that are at play also. So if you come in and you want to feel what it's like to be a victim, you at some point are going to bump into the one who wants to experience what it's like to be the bully. So these two are going to have to at some point come together, because how else would you get to experience being the victim? Because in being the victim come the lessons. Oh, what does a victim get to do? It gets to condense and feel bad about itself. It gets to forgive and feel good about itself. There is a natural balancing process that we all go through. There is the magnetism that draws to us that which is the same. And once you have an experience of what that is, you can release it by accepting that it is a part of the wholeness of what God is. Because in truth, what we are is all of it, forgetting 99.999% of it, so you can have an experience of a tiny fraction. And in the next lifetime, guess what? You come in as that victim or as that bully, and you find another aspect that wants to play the victim, and you balance those energies. That is the game of karma for millennia, if you want to call it that, even though this is all happening at once. But in our incarnations, we have been balancing ourselves from victim to bully outside of ourselves. Me being a victim to you, the bully, or me being the bully to you, the victim. It appears that it happens outside. So there is a natural balancing process, because when victim and bully come together, it sparks a potential for wholeness. And the wholeness comes from the acceptance. You and I are same aspects of the same one energy. Why? Because God created all of us equal. The designer created every single aspect equal. There is not one cell in our body that is more important than another. We made that up. Oh yeah, the cell of this is more important than that. No, all of it is equally as important. So our Constitution tells us that we're all created equal, endowed with the same thing. We have eternal life. Why? Because we're all aspects of that which is eternal. We have liberty, we have freedom. What is that? Free will. And when you acknowledge the truth of who you are as one who's experiencing one potential or two or three, maybe in this lifetime, I know I have, you experience multiple lives in one lifetime. I've been daughter, I've been mother, I've been female, or still am female, unless I choose to change that. And if I choose to change that, then I'll experience what it's like to become trans and transition to something else. I don't feel like that's something that is calling me, but if that gets activated in me, I'm going to follow that lead. And in this lifetime, I have been, I've been a server in a restaurant. I've been a realtor. I've been a coach. I've been a teacher. I've been a student. I've been so many different things. And when you look at your life as a microcosm of the macrocosm, and you see how many different experiences you've had in this one life that, in my 60 years, my goodness, I've had a lot of experiences. And you begin to give yourself permission to be part of that which is experiencing at a bigger level. We begin to create compassion for ourselves in those different roles, compassion for others out there in the different roles that they're playing. And you begin to understand real forgiveness. We have to forgive ourselves when we don't know what we're doing by operating as if what's happening shouldn't be happening. When we are in judgment of what is, we don't really understand the game. So we are unconscious. That's not a bad thing. We chose to go unconscious. Nobody is guilty or wrong for being unconscious. That is a free will choice. We have the liberty to do that. And guess what? To our soul is quite happy being unconscious because it gives it the opportunity to fully experience one role at a time. However, because the descending into that role that requires that we become singular gives rise to the ego. The ego is the thoughts that we must believe that tell us that we're not one with all that is. We're only that one that gets programmed and conditioned into conformity. There's nothing wrong with that. That is absolutely part of the game. So when we begin to look at this as a divine comedy and you begin to wake up and ascend out of the many, many, many layers of consciousness that we have to move through, it begins to be comical how I chose to play the role and then I got upset because I was playing the role. It's like an actor who plays a role and then gets mad in the role that it is the role that it has. When, wait a second, you auditioned for the role, you chose the role, they offered it to you and you said yes, you took the money and you played the part and now you're mad that that's the role that you're playing. That's what we have to realize. It's pretty funny. None of us is where we are if not by choice. Happiness comes to those who recognize that we made a choice to go unconscious, and if you go unconscious, other people can manipulate you, or you can manipulate other people. The process of becoming conscious is to begin to see everybody's equality, to begin to see everybody as holy, to begin to have reverence for others. But more importantly, no different than getting in the airplane and putting the mask on your face, is that you've got to acknowledge you are whole, perfect, complete. You are not only designed by a magnificent designer, but you are one with the designer. And that is something that takes a while for the mind to get comfortable with that. But the energies are accelerating our remembering that we and the Father, Mother, Creator, Designer, God are one. And as more and more people begin to remember that we are playing the game the way the ego plays it, which includes karma for suffering. Suffering, you've got to play both sides of suffering in order to see you don't want to suffer anymore. So the karma game has a role, and the role of it is to help you see that you keep repeating the same shit you don't like, expecting a different result. Once the mind has been conditioned enough to realize I am the source of my own suffering, then that same mind can begin the process of ascension to the levels of consciousness that allows us to see that if we created our suffering, we too can create our happiness. We are in total control of our joy. But because the mind is conditioned to believe that our happiness comes from externals, it comes from mom or dad or the job or the money or the lover or the neighbor or the sister or somebody. If we believe that love comes to us from the outside, we are unconscious, are unaware. That's another word for unconscious. You're unaware of the love that is inside of you. So you're playing out a karmic pattern. And until you claim the wholeness that is inside of you, you're going to keep getting aspects of yourself that are dissociated, that you've got to go and correct. You don't get your own power and you don't speak it and own it, others will come and try and take it from you because you're giving it away. Because that's the game that you're playing. You're operating at the level of consciousness that took courage for you to descend into insanity. So as long as you think somebody has what you're looking for, somebody has the ability to hurt you or to help you or to heal you or to make you happy, you don't want to own the power that you have. And that spiritual maturity requires that you make the decision at some point, I am free. I am absolutely free to experience whatever I'm experiencing. Just sit for a second. Sit for a second with that thought. I am the creator of my own reality. Because if you don't accept that you're the creator of your own reality, your awakening will take a lot longer. It will take a lot longer. And the reason is that when we chose to create the dream of separation, inside of that creation of the dream, we crossed over into the veil. We literally pulled the curtain of forgetfulness. On the side of forgetting, we have to act out something that is very, very uncomfortable for people to even understand. But we have to experience the death of our soul. It appears like it's the death of our soul. We literally believe that we are here to die for the terrible thing that we did. When you enter into the insanity, you enter into the possibility of death. That's just the way that it is. That's why we have birth and death. That's the game of the ego, birth and death, which completely denies eternal life. And while we are denying eternal life, we are attempting to get up, to try to live forever. We're attempting to, that's why we want to take all these youthing pills. We want all these surgeries so we can look younger. We want to live forever. We'll pay all kinds of money to be frozen so that we can be eternal, because we don't understand the eternity that is already inside of us. I'll tell you what, discovering the truth of who you are and waking up to that you're the creator of your own reality, nothing is more youthing than that, because you are acknowledging that childlike sense of wonder that is playing the game of separation. And once you tap in with your inner child, how much younger do you want to get? If you are going to be any younger than your own inner child, healthy, Christed inner being, you won't be here. You'll be planning your next incarnation, but in this incarnation, you can become like a little child and return to your youthfulness because it's a state of mind that then it just permeates your physical being. It all has to go together because one gives shape to the other. The thought, the thinking creates what our emotional body experiences, and that is what powers our physical vessel. And this, what we're going to read today, is just to solidify yet again that we are the dreamers of the dream. So if somebody will put in the chat, because some people may join in later, we are still in chapter 27, and we're still in section number 7 inside of the text. The dreamer of the dream is the section, and we're going to start reading with paragraph 12. So we are in chapter 27, section number 7, paragraph 12 is where we're going to start. Getting this is how we're going to liberate ourselves. There's just no way to liberate yourself if you don't understand and accept and then embody that you are the creator of your own reality. You see, the steps are simple. You've got to have the awareness of what's going on. You've got to have the acceptance of it. And then you've got to shift yourself to the higher frequency. There's no other steps. Well, I throw in a fourth one, which is just acknowledge, oh my gosh, I'm so powerful. I went down and I went up. I chose to descend and condense myself, contract myself into an ego. And I chose to go through the journey to expand myself and free myself and be in alignment with what God would like for me. You know, this whole thing. And I know some of you here, some of you are really hard-headed, have been very hard-headed and very righteous. And I see me in you. I know you because I know that in me. And we don't want to surrender to God. We don't, what? God, tell me what to do? That is just part of the ego, blocking us from allowing ourselves to surrender to the designer. We only have one little, we're one speck. God wants us to surrender to the all that isness that has truly, if it wants us to experience happiness, don't you think that it knows more alternatives to happiness than your programmed egoic mind knows? It knows all the paths to all of the ways for us to experience fulfillment. We only know what's in front of us. We only know what's programmed in our mind. And allowing ourselves to surrender to the creator, to the infinite designer, divine designer, is to take the blinders off and let ourselves see the more that is possible. That requires an incredible amount of spiritual maturity because you have to get over yourself. You've got to acknowledge, you know what, of my own self, I know nothing. And that level of humbleness comes with oftentimes a fair amount of humiliation. Been there, done that. When people call you on the carpet because you're not walking the talk, but those are wonderful teaching moments because they give you the opportunity to become humble, to go, oh, wow, you know what, you're right. I don't know it all, or I'm not walking what I'm saying, what I'm talking. And it's a process, it's a refining. However, the energies are supporting the acceleration of that. We have literally, I'm gonna call it, this is the decade that we must make a decision. Are we going down? Are we going to continue to go down? Do we need more darkness? Do we need to experience more discomfort to wake up? Or are we done with the discomfort and we're using our free will to ascend? Do we want to learn through joy, through fun, through ease, through collaboration, co-creation? We get to do that. This is the decade. I'm in, probably most likely the first half of this decade. We have just another couple of years before those energies, and some others say that maybe not even that long. We only have a short period of time for a cycle to complete, to come to completion, where the opportunity to see quickly is going to end by design, so that we can decide, are we going to another dimension of experience where we're learning through higher frequency, or do we want to experience through lower frequency? It is like being on a playground, an amusement park. This merry-go-round is coming to a stop. Do you know how, I'm sure all of you have been on a merry-go-round. You're in that thing, the little horses, you go up and down and it's so much fun, and it accelerates, and then it comes to a slowing pace. We are in that slow pace. Those who want to get off that merry-go-round, you can easily come off. Those who want to go again, you stay seated where you are. I've done that with my children a lot, many, many, many times. Sometimes they liked it and we stayed on it. We just sat there and we waited for it to speed up again into its process. I'll call it its incarnation of that next round. Sometimes we did it 2 or 3 times. They were bored, they were tired, they wanted to go to another area in the amusement park. We got off the merry-go-round. We are at that point that there is a choice. Do you want to stay on the merry-go-round and continue to suffer? You will have to go down. If you're operating as a bully, you're going to experience being somebody's victim. If you're operating as a victim, you're going to come back and be somebody's bully. That is part of the intelligent design, that through magnetism, we attract exactly what we need to learn. And in the process of learning, we are just giving ourselves an opportunity to experience all the different ways through free will that we can be either aligned with source or blocking source, aligned with the light, blocking light, extending love, blocking love. That's all that's happening. That's it. That's it. Or we can get off this merry-go-round and go to another place in the playground that is just going to be more exciting, more fun. Yes, the carousel, that's what I was thinking. Thanks, Natalia. I'm done with this carousel. I'm ready for the carousel that is just a lot. It's different. I don't even know what it's going to look like, but in my heart, I know it is going to be more loving. It's going to have transparency. Things are going to be clear. Nobody's going to lie to each other because there's no need. We will be at a frequency of transparency. No more holding other people accountable and trying to guilt them into giving us what we know we have within ourselves. This is the time of total and complete independence from the game of the ego. And in that independence, we're going to have actually transparent relationships that are going to be based on honesty. And most of humanity is not familiar with that. That level of honesty, it requires an incredible amount of vulnerability. And it requires that you know that you are creating your reality. So you start off with, you know what, I want to experience truth. I want to experience love. I want to experience what it's like to be a doctor. And then you get honest. Oh, but I don't know how to do that. Let me go get trained to do that. There is a clarity about what you are capable of and not capable of. And the pretending that you are more or less than what is, that goes away. It's a time of honesty. We're moving to the next carousel, and it is the carousel of transparency, integrity, honesty, and it's going to be so much fun. And I know those of you on this call that I've had the pleasure of knowing for a long time, you guys are clearly ready for that. That's why we keep, participating in these conversations. So before we get into this paragraph 12, let's open it up. Anybody wants to share how embodying A Course in Miracles is assisting you in your life right now? How you've noticed from last week to this week changes in your life? So just unmute yourself, and if you want to share, if not, we'll just jump right into paragraph 12 because it's full of yumminess. Kat, you're looking to share? There we go. There you go.
There we go. I fell off the wagon.
Welcome to the club.
I was up in Laina going with my boyfriend and taking him for cataract surgery, blah, 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 blah. And I was going to leave and, but I lost my keys, which it just was so upsetting to me. It was like, and I kept saying, I gotta walk the talk here. I mean, I am upset. It wasn't that we didn't look for hours. And it was like, it's just impossible that this could have happened. And I really was just very stressed out. And I kept saying, it's all small stuff. And I don't know what anything is for. And and yet I was so upset. It was like, how do I get back? Who are all the people I'm gonna have to inconvenience to get into it was like my brain went into a very, very frustrated place. I was very frustrated. And I kept going back to like, okay. And I said it to my friend. I said, look, I know I'm upset and I recognize that this is not my spiritual path. And so I'm gonna have to forgive myself, and I'm gonna have to, I hope you can forgive me. But I really did. I don't know, I was out of bounds upset. I don't know why. I have no idea.
Well, everything is a lesson God would have us learn. And we know that there is no degree of difficulty in returning to your peace. Nothing is more, whether it's a heart attack or the loss of keys, it is all equally disturbing to our peace of mind. And it was just an opportunity for you to have that honest conversation with him, that you lost your serenity, for you to see that sometimes it happens. But the thing that I picked up in what you said was that you didn't want to inconvenience anybody. So I'm hearing that you still have some belief in there somewhere that you are an inconvenience, that you could possibly inconvenience anybody. That is lack of self-worth. So there's a little thread in there that would have been a wonderful opportunity for you if you were more grounded. Who do I get to give the pleasure of my company right now? Who is it that is going to come to my mind as a person that I should call, that I'm supposed to spend a couple extra hours with today? If you were clear about your worth, there would be no inconveniencing anybody, because when you know that we're all one, it is our joy to be with one another when we are fully, completely aligned. So consider that. Just consider that tiny little bit. And at the same time, this idea of not inconveniencing somebody else, what happened is because we are always teaching what we're learning. In that moment, you were inconveniencing yourself, because it's always a projection. So you inconvenience yourself with the discomfort, with the judgment, the criticizing yourself, the being inconvenienced, the being upset, the upsetting him, blah, 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 blah. So I don't want to inconvenience you, but I'm going to be inconvenienced over here. So just notice that the ways that the ego operates, everything that we think about, we are bringing about at some level. We are just not as well practiced at seeing as within, so without. It's totally, completely a reflection of where we are. So thank you for recognizing it. And you just shift and lift and then go, oh my goodness, look at that. I just created all that drama for myself. And I get an Oscar. What a great performance. Did you perform it fully? Did you enjoy it? Did you suck the juice out of it, of that 3, 4, 5 hours that you were upset? You've got to, like an actor, enjoy the heck out of it. And soon you'll realize, well, why the heck do I do that to myself? And what's Natalia saying? To feel good, to help somebody. And yes, your sweet company. Absolutely. Somebody would have loved your sweet company. And you could have called me. I'd have zipped up 400 and gotten your sweet little self, and we would have had fun together. But instead, you inconvenienced me from having that opportunity.
Okay.
It's all perspective, sweetie. It's all perspective.
Yeah.
But do look at the opportunities. Spend some time looking at, what did I gain from that? and just sit. There's probably a few more things in there. Just sit with it. Did your boyfriend get to see you maybe more human? If you might have been painting a picture being more spiritual, maybe there was a balancing out. Did he get to see you that you walk your talk? Oh, I lost my shit and then I forgive myself. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. There are lots of reasons why things happen. And if you can just hold all of them gently, you're going to get some beautiful, wonderful lessons, because everything is scripted in for us to experience. So thank you so much for sharing that, Kat.
You're welcome.
All right, Vern, yes.
Good morning or good afternoon. I guess it's afternoon now.
It is.
Yeah, Kat, I've had that experience many, many times in my life. And so I, with your permission, I want to ask you a question. Did you eventually find, you're muted, so you can't answer. Did you eventually find the original keys that you lost?
Hold on a second. She's trying to.
Yeah.
After hours. And after my calling my daughter and calling
Right.
out, yes, they were I dropped them in the umbrella, which I've never
Right.
done in my life. Yes, we
Right.
found it.
Okay. The reason I asked that is that my question would have been, did you make a duplicate set at the same time you made a set to replace the ones you lost and put it
Yeah.
someplace?
Yeah,
Because that's,
well, I know I have one somewhere. I know I have one some here, and I haven't,
Yeah.
I just got back yesterday, so I haven't looked for you.
Yeah.
But yes, I did. And I called Audi, and I'm going to have another one made if I
Yeah.
can't find the duplicate. But I have a duplicate. In fact, I had my daughter come over and look for it.
yeah, because
So,
that, I mean, the reason I bring that up is that had been a reoccurrent challenge for me until I finally got the extra set of keys, put it in a place that I could find immediately, like it was a fire extinguisher if I needed to
Yeah.
find something that fast.
yeah.
But when I've had that issue, and so keys to me, think about what a key does. Key gives you access. When you don't have access to something, you can't go there. And the metaphor I got was from losing keys or misplacing keys, basically was that I had disconnected myself from something. I no longer had permission, no longer give myself permission to go into something, to go someplace, to experience something. And that to me, so I just wanted to ask you that because I can't tell you how many people that I know of that have misplaced or lost their keys and do not have a duplicate set of keys someplace that they could easily go to.
That's a
Because-
ticket.
Yeah, because it can cause, but the thing is see, if it's repetitive, if you've done it before, like I had to do, how many times did I have to do it for me to be proactive and say, okay, this is important to me, I'm going to do this. So I had these things. So if I lost them, I really didn't, I wasn't locked out of anything because I always had a backup, another place to go to be able to access again the things that I had locked myself out of. So that, that metaphor of locking yourself out, of course, it was a great teacher, as you found as well, because of the what it allowed you to bring up so you could get rid of one more layer.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's perfect metaphor to access to your soul, access to your peace while you're in the middle of looking for whatever. And that is what the Course wants us to always be mindful of, that everything is equally as disturbing to our peace of mind. So access to your peace of mind is always there. Can you look for keys? Can you look for a job? Can you look for a new house? And, can you look for whatever you're looking for at the grocery store with peace in your heart? The ultimate access. Thanks for that metaphor, Vern.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at what the Course wants us to see, because today what we're going to read here in the Course is really important. If it doesn't make sense, It's what you absolutely need to learn how to give yourself access to. So right here, I'm going to offer you a key to play with the metaphors here. I'm not offering you, the course is offering you a key to a way that we have completely kept ourselves out of the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven being the peace that is always available to us within. So as the creators of our own reality, we must understand what is being said here in paragraph number 12. Again, we're in chapter 27, section 7, paragraph 12. A brother separated from yourself, so another person that you think is separate from you, an ancient enemy, had lots of lifetimes, and we played the roles of victim and villain to one another, a murderer who stalks you in the night and plots your death, yet plans that it be lingering and slow to really torture you. Of this you dream. In the moment, think about it when we, and depending on your consciousness, this won't happen at this consciousness, but when we're operating at the lower consciousness from pride and under, whenever we hear that somebody did something wrong, we can't wait for them to be punished. We can't wait for revenge. We've got a justice system because we're going to get justice on that person who did this wrong thing. That is the same story that is playing out in the back of our mind as it relates to this. We in the back of our mind want to punish people out there because in the back of our mind, we're expecting an old brother to punish us and to make it slow. That's why, make them suffer, an eye for an eye. Just we're going to put them on the electric chair and we're going to turn it slowly, especially with somebody that you really do not like. We're going to stone them to death. We are very, very clear that we want people to suffer the way that we have been suffering. That's part of the egoic story. Sentence number 2 says, yet underneath this dream is yet another, layers of dreams here, in which you become the murderer, the secret enemy, the scavenger and the destroyer of your brother and the world alike. So inside of us, yes, Vern, absolutely. Catch you next time. Inside of us is the desire to take another down and the desire that the one who attempts to hurt us or others gets taken down. This is the game of victim and bully. It is absolutely part of the ego. There's no way around this. We have to all see it, that we play victim and bully, and both are two sides of the same coin of the ego. When we understand this better, when we are clear that that is the way the ego operates, we begin to look at that projection coming from inside of us. Let me keep reading. Sentence number 3. Here is the cause of suffering. This is why this, to play with Kat's metaphor, this is a key that is going to unlock a lot of stuff for anybody who wants to really go deep in their journey. Because if you don't understand that here is the cause of your suffering, you can't fully let go of the suffering. So let's keep going. So the space between your little dreams and your reality. There is the dream that I'm separate from God. I am one with God, and then I enter the dream. Before I enter the dream, I stand and go, yep, I'm going to come in and have an incarnation. In the moment that I decide to have an incarnation, I am saying yes to activating an ego that is going to play the victim and bully. It's just part of it. So that conversation is automatically part of, or that belief system is part of the programming of incarnation. All right, so sentence number 4, the little gap that you do not see, the birthplace of illusions and of fear, the time of terror and of ancient hate, the instant of disaster, all are here. Here is the cause of unreality, and it is here that it will be undone. Right before we incarnate, see where enlightenment is? Enlightenment is we are in the light. when we are in the light of truth, right before we enter, we're one with all that is. Everything is absolutely connected and beautiful and wonderful. We make a decision. When we make that decision to incarnate, we literally create a gap. There is the enlightened me, and then there is the space in which I must enter to dim my light. So this is why the Course says that enlightenment is really not something that happens to you. It's something that you acknowledge is already you. We are already the light. That dimming of our light, in that moment that we dim our light, that is the gap that we all have to return to, because it is in that space that we get to decide, am I going to incarnate unconscious, or am I going to incarnate conscious of my light? Children come in conscious of their light. They absolutely do. But they become little by little trained into dimming their light. So we all have that light in us. We express it as children. The journey of becoming conscious is the journey of ascending, questioning our thoughts and our beliefs until we rise above the space where we accept that there's something wrong with us, where we accept that we're not good enough, where we accept that we're not worthy. We have to come to the place before that decision is made and choose again. We choose here to help us move our way up to the light, but to walk the talk, you have to be in the light of truth and accept your power that you created all of it. This is the ultimate responsibility, which Vern just left, and this is one of his favorite words. Ultimate responsibility for how powerful you are, which means you stop holding people responsible for your joy, your happiness, your pain, your suffering. Nobody out there is doing that to you. It is all totally, completely done to self, because you don't know you're holding the freaking keys to everything right there. All right, paragraph number 13. You are the dreamer of the world of dreams. No other cause it has, nor ever will. This world doesn't have power over us, none whatsoever. It appears that it does because we've given it our power. Yeah, you can be mad at me, or you can, yeah, dad, mom, you can punish me. Boss, wife, husband, you can punish me. Government, you can punish me. We have given it power because the mind is conditioned into giving it power. But in the background is a part of us that seeks revenge on those who are hurting us, that seeks others to punish us. I deserve to be punished for how bad I've been. That previous paragraph, you have to understand that's where the suffering comes in, because in your mind, you believe that because you are separate from God and you created this crazy world, the ego is going to want to punish you for creating the thing that has caused all the suffering. And it isn't until you hold that awareness, wait a second, no, I'm done with punishment. I'm not going to punish me. I'm not going to punish you. When there is a conscious decision to forgive, then the ego really loses its power, loses its ability to cause that separation, to cause that disturbance. My little doggy is scratching and trying to make herself a space in the bed so she can be a little bit more comfortable. Precious being. I love that doggy. All right, so paragraph 13 again. Sentence number 3, nothing more fearful than an idle dream has terrified God's son and made him think that he has lost his innocence, denied his father, and made war upon himself. The Course tells us that we have several obstacles we have to go through before we find total peace. And one of them is right here. This is telling you exactly what happens. We have in the back of our mind taught to us, thanks to religion, that we are going to be punished by the Father. Notice how the church has projected onto a loving God that it is a vengeful Father because it's a reflection of the vengefulness of the human. when in reality, Father, Mother, God is a loving being. And if we're experiencing a vengeful father, mother, it's because we are allowing ourselves to believe that we deserve that punishment. If you own your power and you've got somebody attempting to tell you that there's something wrong with you, that they're going to punish you, and you say, excuse me, no, I do not accept punishment from anybody. Because the only punishment that can be doled out is that you're going to withdraw your love from me. If you're comfortable enough with who you are and somebody wants to withdraw love, let them. Guess what? If you know you are a loving being, it's not going to affect you. Not at all. If you understand that them withholding love they are blocking themselves from loving you, you don't have to stop loving them. If they have that much power over you, then there are other things at play. If you can't get away from a situation, like when I was married to Ken, because he was this well-to-do man, and I had given up so much of my business and so much of my income because I bought into this story that my knight in shining armor was going to take care of me. Well, when he started withholding his love because he thought I was cheating on him, which, as you all know, those who know my story, that didn't happen. But in his mind, he was attempting to take revenge. See, he was playing out that I was going to come and cheat on him because past wives did that to him. So he, being a victim in past lives, decided to be a bully in this particular experience with me. So I'm saying his former marriages were his past lives in this incarnation. So he became the bully who was going to punish me before I could possibly cheat on him. What was he doing? Cheating on himself, because he blocked himself from having the very love that we had amongst us. And instead of enjoying the relationship that was there, what happened is he began to experience the disconnection that he was creating, because the more he put layers between us, the more distance was being created between us. But I only suffered because I needed his financial support. I needed to be in the house and be taken care of because I had let go of being the one who took care of me. So once you stop being self-sufficient, other people then can manipulate you. And if you don't care that they're going to punish you, then you move on and you joyfully accept your power to co-create whatever it is that you want to co-create for yourself. Nobody can hold you hostage unless you believe you deserve it. That is what this is all about. In the back of our mind, there is a thought that if I'm bad, somebody should punish me. And if somebody's bad out there, I should punish them. As long as we have that in our mind, all of our relationships are conditional. They're manipulative. They're codependent. We cannot create a new earth where people trust each other, while in the back of our mind, we don't own our self-worth and we expect to get what we need from somebody else to be okay. That is a recipe for the 3D world that we have been operating in. Once you come to the place that you own, that you are as God created you, and you are whole, perfect, complete, and the creator of your own reality, dreaming this dream that makes you believe there's something wrong with you. Once you stop believing that, you stop the dream of separation. Once that happens, you return yourself to the truth of who you are. Now you stop being fearful of a God out there that can punish you, because you return to the truth of that you are the creator of your reality. God created you to create. You're created in the image of the creator. What does a creator do? It creates. What does a designer do? It designs. What life do you want to design for yourself is dependent on what you believe is true about yourself, because you're projecting out there what's going on inside of you. So Kat lost her keys, so she created all this commotion, but it was an opportunity for her to see that all she did, and as Vern was saying, lost access to her inner peace. So losing the keys, or mom or dad getting mad at you, or husband wanting to get divorced, so what? So what? It doesn't change who you are. We've got to get comfortable that it's okay to move on from circumstances. But our mind has been trained that if parents kick us out, or husband kicks us out, or job fires us, or the government, gets angry at us, that somehow that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just a completion of a situation that needs to complete because it's an opportunity for a lesson. You lose the keys, find them, make a copy, call a friend. All of these are opportunities for us to find our own sense of worth. And when you found your worth, when you are unwilling to give up your serenity, to give up your peace, to give up your knowingness of who you are, when you're unwilling to let a situation, a circumstance, a person dictate that there's something wrong with you. Once you're at that level of total and complete clarity about who you are, it does not matter what happens on the outside, because you are grounded solidly in inner knowing of the truth of who you are. So then this continues. Sentence number 4, so fearful is the dream, so seeming real. He could not wake into reality without the sweat of terror and a scream of mortal fear, unless a gentler dream preceded his awakening and allowed his calmer mind to welcome, not to fear, the voice, capital V voice, a voice for God, the voice that calls with love to waken him, a gentler dream in which his suffering has healed and where his brother was his friend. God willed he waken gently and with joy, and gave him means to waken without fear. The ways to wake up: with fear and terror, or gently. Do you know how many people have been sent to my life at the moment that I thought something terrible was happening? They gave me words of wisdom, or shared a book, or I went to a movie and the storyline in the movie was just what I needed to hear in that moment. I have had lots of opportunities to wake up in a gentle way. Studying the Course in Miracles has been very gentle, because I take the words in, I transform inside, my mind shifts, I move to another level of clarity. That's what ascension is. You're moving to see things, ascend, to see from a higher perspective, to see from here instead of from here. This is when we are contracted, I can only see this, but as we ascend, we can see more of the picture. We begin to create a spiral where we see more, we ascend. It's like going to the top of the mountain instead of looking at things from the valley, to see things differently instead of the same old way. We can wake up the hard way or the easy way. The choice is ours. The more you hold on to your righteousness about what's been done wrong to you, the harder the awakening is. The more you listen to the clues, stop resisting what is. If you've got a boss telling you, you're not performing a good job, and you keep resisting what they're telling you, you're on probation, you're not doing a good job, and you keep talking trash about the boss. Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. And you're not listening to the clues. Well, you're not receiving the gentle awakening that would say, hey, you're not doing a good job. What should I do? Do I need better training? Do I need to look for another job? Is it time for me to move on? If you don't take what is being given to you and see the truth in it, you will get woken up by a 2x4. Somebody is going to fire you. Somebody is going to break up with you. Something is going to happen that is going to knock you off your feet. Humanity right now is so densely entrenched in its righteousness of victimhood that it is giving the bullies a lot of power. So much power are the bullies, the controllers, being given, that those who are being controlled are willing to shame and judge those who don't want to be controlled. Fascinating, isn't it? We have the choice when we expand our awareness, when you can see more clearly what is happening, to awaken with love or to awaken through fear. The whole reason I'm doing the spiritual mastery next year, and we are diving deep into accepting the way of love. That's its course of love. You have to be very clear that you're done with suffering in order to consciously choose the way of love. People cannot enter the way of love without awareness of their ego, because the ego is a part of us that seeks to blame, to shame others, to make others responsible for their suffering. That's the lower frequency of pride and under. Because when you're operating with pride, you do not have the courage to say, is there another way? You don't have, pride is righteousness. And while you're needing to be right, it is very difficult to move out of that place that takes you into expansion, that takes you into curiosity and look for another way. Love is another way, but you've got to be willing to take what's happening. If you're hearing the same message over and over and over again, why are you resisting it? Well, you're resisting it because you're being prideful and righteous about attempting to convince what is happening that it shouldn't be happening. It's insanity. I spent so much time trying to convince my husband that he was wrong about his judgments about me. And after about a year, finally I went, what the fuck is wrong with me? I teach this stuff. That's when I realized how spiritualized my ego had gotten, because I was judging him for not being spiritual enough and judging me. And it was such a crazy situation, but it needed to get to the point that one day I went, oh my God, this is crazy. So that I could start laughing at the insanity of my own ego, and then I could expand. How many times do we need somebody to tell us the same thing? Well, however many times it takes until you wake up, because we are being awakened. We are being invited. You know, the merry-go-round, the carousel has an ending. So it's time to get off, or if you don't get off, it will stop and it will start again, and you will be part of that incarnation. This and you'll be stuck in the wheel of karma. Not a bad thing. Obviously, you need more lessons through suffering. You're not ready for lessons through joy. And I like lessons through joy right now. If I hear the same thing once, twice, I know, okay, let me pay attention. All right, so paragraph 14, accept the dream he gave instead of yours. So God gave us a dream, and it's the dream of co-creating with love and light. We could have been co-creating with love and light all along. We chose to see, I wonder what it's like to turn the light off. I wonder what it's like to block love. Because we can, it's one of the possibilities. But once you have that experience, why do it again? Why go back to the thing that you became aware of is not joyful anymore? You know, why do people may have the same marriage, marry the same person, even though they have a different face, a different name, a different whatever? Because there is a magnetic aspect to who we are. We attract to us the ones who will show us what we are showing up as. So we get the same situation to give us different experiences. All right, so if we accept the dream that we can dream with joy, it's been given to us. We can shift and lift and choose to learn through joy. It is not difficult to change a dream when once the dreamer has been recognized. Recognize that you're dreaming your dream. You're the one who's playing victim or bully, or you're the one who has woken up and says, let me get curious. What's going on here? Do I like this? Does it feel good? Once you decide that you are in charge of how you feel and that your thoughts create how you feel, once you know that you're in charge of how you feel and it feels bad to be rejected, you will stop taking what other people say as rejection. You will start saying, thank you for letting me know where you are so that I can then know where I am in relationship to you. If the boss is giving you hints, if the lover is giving you hints, if the child is letting you know, Mom, I don't need your help anymore. I had my children do that to me many times. And no, Mom, I can do this by myself. I can do this by myself. And I was in my arrogance and my prideful, I know what's best for you. But once I began to listen, oh, you want to do it by yourself? Oh, you want to try this out? Good. Let's do it through joy. Now, instead of me being the one who's in charge of my children, how about if my children are in charge of themselves? That created more expansion for me. And we all learned through joy then, because they were allowed to make their own mistakes instead of me trying to avoid their mistakes so that I could be, look good like a mom. Crazy shit that we do when we are so controlling. All right. It is not difficult to change a dream once the dreamer has been recognized. Recognize You are the dreamer. I am the dreamer. Once we know who is the dreamer, now all of the sudden, we liberate humanity. Everybody has been freed. So rest in the Holy Spirit, rest in God, basically, and allow his gentle dreams to take the place of those you dreamed in terror and in fear of death. He brings forgiving dreams in which the choice is not who is the murderer and who shall be the victim. In the dream he brings, there is no murder and there is no death. The dream of guilt is fading from your sight, although your eyes are still closed, because we're still in this sense of separation. A smile has come to lighten up your sleeping face. The sleep is peaceful now, for these are happy dreams. Course in Miracles is attempting to move us towards co-creating a happy dream. To co-create a happy dream, we have to stop talking about the murderers out there. These people who are attempting to kill everybody with the jab, stop judging them. They're playing a role for the people who need that role played so they can see where they are. Those who want to be victims of the jab need the jabbers to have their experience. If you don't want to play that game, stop judging it and move up beyond it. Move to the place where you are owning the truth of who you are. Move to the place where you can see, wow, this is a divine comedy. These powerful beings are acting like they're powerless. Good for them. Those of you who've coached with me, you know how many times I've said to you, good for you. You deserve an Oscar for that performance. Oh, wow. You were the victim of that situation. Did you enjoy it? Did you have fun? Did you milk it for all it's worth? Did you really have, your whole beingness into the performance? Because once you begin to take an inventory of your behavior at the end of the day, I did this with my husband. Oh my God, today I acted like a victim all day. Oh, today I was only a victim for 30 minutes. Oh, today I was a victim for 2 hours. How did that feel? Oh, it felt tight and contracted. That's what that is. I was in contraction. And once I realized, wait, my thoughts put me in tightness or expansion. I feel bad if I think, oh, he hurt me. I feel good when I go, oh, he just showed me where he is. I now get to make a choice. I was totally, completely liberated from my own insanity when I took 100% responsibility for being the powerful creator of my experience. You cannot keep talking the talk. Oh yeah, I create my own reality. Oh, but I hate that so-and-so rejected me, or I hate that so-and-so stood me up for the date, or I hate that so-and-so didn't invite me. I've got fear of missing out. Well, if you want to have fear of missing out, you're going to suffer, because guess what? There are lots of people who are not going to invite you because we can't include everybody in everything that we do. We came here to have separate experiences. It is our joy as a soul to have specific individualized experiences, because our mind would explode if we had to be everything at once. So we are one thing at once, and play that one role full out. How many actors do you know that in one moment, in 1 hour, can be on 10 different stages at one time, can play 10 different movies at one time? They can't. Now they can play one this hour and one next hour and one, sure, you can do that. But at one time, you can't be all of it. But at one time, you can make peace with all of it. That's our power. You can make peace with where you are and accept that you're the creator of your own reality. God wants you to have that awakening, because when you have that awakening, you become one of the teachers of God that helps others see that there is another way. Humanity, this planet is tired of spinning, tired of being the merry-go-round for a bunch of people operating in low frequency. This planet is ascending. This planet is shaking off through the hurricanes, through the earthquakes, through the rain. It is shaking off what is not natural. And it is going to have its own ascension. And many people are going to experience death because they are choosing to come back. They're buying a ticket through their death to return to an incarnation into, crazy planet. And some are choosing death because they're done with crazy planet and they are going to incarnate to those who are operating at the higher frequency of co-creating a new earth. Right here on the same freaking planet. There are those who are going to experience love, joy, and peace. And then there are those who are going to continue the suffering. Watch, it's happening now. Look for the states that are promoting that, the counties that are promoting that, the countries that are promoting liberation and promoting condemnation and suffering and segregation and control. It's coming. Are you awake and paying attention or not? That's the question. Paragraph 15. Dream softly of your sinless brother. Nobody is a bad soul. There are no bad souls here. Everybody is experiencing a dream based on what they wanted to have for themselves, which individualized experience that they want. Honor them, clap for them, enjoy their performance. Doesn't mean you have to stay with them. It just means they're doing what they're doing and you honor where they are. So dream softly of your sinless brother who unites with you in holy innocence. If you don't see their innocence, you're not seeing yours. To talk it and to walk it means that you must see it in them for you to feel it in you. If you're not feeling your innocence, you can't see theirs. If you're not feeling your worth, you can't see theirs. If you don't feel that you are loving, you can't extend love to others. And from this dream, the Lord of heaven will himself awaken his beloved son. You wake up when you realize, number one, we're all equal. Number two, we're all have eternal life. Number three, we all have free will. Number four, if you're not enjoying what's happening, it's because you are not owning that you're creating it. We're equal. God created all of us equal to experience life, liberty, happiness. It's even in the freaking Constitution. Why? Because God's been giving us a truth always. 2,000 years ago through Buddha, 2,500 years ago through Buddha, 2,000 years ago through Jesus, and gave it to us 1,500 years ago through Muhammad. We've been getting the truth over and over and over again. Gandhi gave it to us. MLK Jr. gave it to us. How many more times do we need to hear the same truth before we accept it? However long we want to continue to learn through suffering, or we stop the suffering when we choose to do it through joy. It's very simple. So dream of your brother's kindness instead of dwelling in your dreams of his mistakes. Look for where people are being good. Pay attention and highlight the goodness there. Pay attention to where love is expressing itself, because it is a call for love. And remind them when they're not doing the nice things that there is love in there. When my husband was thinking I was cheating on him, many times I said to him, sweetie, I know it must be really uncomfortable for you to think I'm cheating on you. I no longer am attempting to convince you that I'm not. I'm just going to love you in the space that you're in. And while you are protecting yourself, thinking I'm attempting to hurt you, I am just going to love you right there. I no longer take it personal of what you're thinking. I am loving you no matter what. That is how I began to move through my spiritualized ego and really was able to move into the place of owning the truth, walking my talk. How else can you walk it if you don't do it? All right. So sentence number 4, paragraph 15, select his thoughtfulness to dream about instead of counting up the hurt he gave. Focus on the good that they're doing. Are they helping you? Are they telling you, hey, we're going to have to fire you? Thank you so much for noticing that I'm not a good match for this job anymore. Thank you so much for noticing that I have areas for improvement. Oh, Ken, you don't want to be with me anymore because you're afraid of me. Thank you for letting me know how uncomfortable you are. I have more compassion now for you. And you receive what they're telling you from your soul, from your heart, and both of you are released from judgments, from suffering. Forgive him his illusions and give thanks to him for all the helpfulness he gave. Oh, you don't want to be with me? Thank you for letting me know. Oh, we can be friends instead of husband, wife. We did that. We got divorced and we stayed dating for a couple of years. And then it became really clear that the story didn't end. It stayed inside of him. Okay, then We don't see each other anymore. It's okay. It was a very gentle, soft release. My little sweet doggy's giving us some background music. She's playing with her toy. How wonderful is that? So forgive him his illusions and give thanks to him for all the helpfulness he gave. Forgive their trespasses, for they know not what they do. As we have been forgiven our trespasses, because we didn't know what we were doing when we were unconscious. And do not brush aside his many gifts, because he is not perfect in your dreams. He represents his Father, whom you see as offering both life and death to you. So Ken was representing to me my idea, oh my God, he deserves to be punished for judging me. He deserves to suffer for what he has done. Or, oh my gosh, I deserve to suffer for judging him. I deserve to be punished for all the ugly thoughts I had about him. See, the ego wants punishment, wants it create a justice system to take out revenge. But when you are moving and grounded, so funny, she's playing with that toy. When you are grounded in the truth of who you are, an innocent being, everybody is innocent along with you, because you know to release them is to release yourself. To hold them in bondage, guess what? If you put them in a prison, your mind has to be thinking all the bad things about them to hold them prisoner. And if you're holding them in a prison, you're in the prison right there with them. You might be outside of the prison, but you're holding on to the lock so they don't get out, because you got to keep thinking, hey girl, she wants out of her prison. So you've got to keep thinking their freedom is your freedom. Release them. Let them be who they are, because they are designed just as perfectly as you are designed. I'm going to give this girl her freedom. Let me let her out of her cage. Hold on. All right, girl. So she is going to be looking for some attention because she wants to play. There she is. She's now jumping on me. All right, girl. Hold on, sweetie pie. It must be lunchtime. All right. So with a sweet puppy who, let me see. I don't know if you can see her down here trying to jump on me. That's so sweet. Let me read the final paragraph. Brother, he gives but life. Everybody, God gave all of us the ability to have life and to experience joy. That is what has been given to each and every one of us. But your brother needs you to give him, grant him his joy in his life. My doggy wants to dance with me here. Brother, he gives but life. Yet what you see as gifts your brother offers represents the gifts you dream your Father gives you. I had to see Ken as giving me freedom, where he thought that he was protecting himself and putting himself in a situation where I was the horrible person that could cheat on him. He was giving me the opportunity to see that I needed freedom from this relationship. I didn't want to be with somebody. I had to work so hard to convince them that I was being honest and I loved them. If they couldn't accept it easily, it was time for me to release. Why? Because I love myself too much to be in that kind of bondage and that kind of suffering. Not only that, it's not love. It is not love to set conditions. It is not love to judge another person. It is not love to continue to make another person feel bad for what it is that they're believing. If they're telling you something, trust it. They're showing you where they are. He was showing me he wasn't suffering, and I just needed to let him be where he was, because that is what he was choosing to experience. I was just not willing to accept that I was the bully doing this to him. I let him be in his story because that's where he wanted to be. So it goes on to say, let all your brother's gifts be seen in light of charity and kindness offered you. Beautiful gifts were given to me when Ken was showing me where he was. And let no pain disturb your dream of deep appreciation for his gifts to you. Humanity right now, Dr. Fauci, the president, the old president, Hitler, all of these people, they show us where they are. And the world has been in density for a very long time because we have not been operating from the truth of our potential to be loving beings. It's time that we begin to accept that we are powerful creators. It's time that we accept that we are love. It's time for us to acknowledge oneness with all that is. We have the ability to be examples of what we desire to experience by seeing that in others. If you don't see it in another, it's because you haven't felt it in you. Don't blame them for your suffering. Look at your consciousness. Look at what you're thinking, because your thinking causes how you feel. That's how powerful we are. So with that, we complete section number 7. And I don't know where we're going to go next week, but this is powerful stuff. We're moving towards the season of light to see clearly. Let the light shine in your mind. Let yourself be totally and completely illuminated with the truth. Enlighten yourself. Be in the light. Ask guidance for what would you have me do? And the answer is always the same. Everything is love expressing itself, or it's a call for love because love has been suppressed. It starts with you. It starts with me. Are you going to extend love and let people be where they are? Or are you going to suppress your love and make them responsible for giving you love because you're being too lazy about acknowledging your own love and your own healing and your own wholeness? The game is very simple. The rules are super simple. You're all that. Tag, you are it. You've been playing this game of divine hide and seek. Game is over for those who want to see and play a new game. Stay on the old merry-go-round and keep going around in circles, or let's get off of this and co-create a new game. We can, but that game is going to be co-created by frequency. Low frequency people keep doing the same old thing, expecting a different result. High frequency, we got to play the game with new rules. Let's learn the rules of God. Let's learn the characteristics of a teacher of God. Let's embody the new. And I'm telling you, I'm so excited for that new journey that we're going to spend an entire year embodying the truth of who we are, because you already had to have seen the ego. This journey will not work for anybody who hasn't seen the ego. That's why I'm doing interviews, because it's very clear, very clear. No victims, no blamers. That cannot move us into the new. All right, please unmute yourselves. Thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Let's see. I am so grateful that you are here. Go ahead, everybody, unmute yourselves, because I want to hear. Do you get any nuggets here? Yeah. You got some nuggets?
Yeah. Definitely a lot of them.
Thank you. What about the
Thank
rest
you.
of you? Yuri, Natalia, Dandra, to get some nuggets. Please unmute yourself. It's funny, sometimes I don't know how to, ask everybody to unmute. There we go. All right. Okay, well then let's just say goodbye. And we will see each other next Wednesday. Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you so much for sharing. So appreciate that. You gave us a wonderful metaphor to play with. So thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. Same time.
Okay.
Same...
Hey, I was going to say something.
Oh, yes.
Nobody leaves yet. Nobody leaves.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, I haven't been in the call for some time. I had another class going on at that time. And I loved today's conversation. Sorry, I can turn camera. And lots of nuggets. But the main thing that the good reminder was that that to keep somebody prisoner, you have to think, you have to keep bad thoughts in your head. And I was like, ew, I just imagined that you have to keep the rotten garbage in your house in order to blame somebody. It's like the same thing. Like,
Exactly.
why would I do it? I don't care. I'll let them go, but I want my house clean. Yeah, so it's like was very
House. You got to clean this house.
yeah. And I was like, I'm punishing somebody else to let like forever rot and stink in my own house, I was like, no, I don't think it's it's working for me. Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly, exactly. Good
Yeah,
awareness,
and
good awareness.
yeah, we just don't see things regularly. Okay, Doc, thank you very much. Good to see you, and I'll see you at the Angel Hour today, Laina.
All right.
Hugs, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody. You'll have a
Bye,
wonderful,
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Lina, as always.
Bye, thanks, Lana.
bye-bye, Yuri.